Since I've started making videos, I've stuck closely to point-and-click adventure games. However, while I have a nostalgic boner for these games, I also have an immense love for the PlayStation 1. Times were simpler. You just got home from school, you pulled out your Capri Sun, kicked back, and played video games while also picking your nose, because that's just how we hardcore gang rolled. It was a time of happiness and innocence. And Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, may be one of the most innocent games that I have ever seen. I think it's difficult to describe how happy that Croc really is. I guess I'd ask you to picture a corgi with a bow tie and a little top hat. That's probably my way of describing this game. It's cute as all hell. Croc follows the hapless adventures of Croc, who, if you weren't aware, is a croc. It gets a little confusing, but trust me, you start to pick it up after a few hours into the game. Croc is an abandoned baby who is set adrift in a basket. So effectively, Croc is Moses? As a baby, Croc is raised by a race of tiny little creatures known as Gobbos, which, as you know, the ideal thing to do when you find a baby crocodile is to raise it as your own. Things seem peaceful until the island is overrun by the game's antagonist, Baron Dante, who you know is evil because 1, he has the title Baron, and 2, he has a mohawk which is just teeming with evil. Croc manages to escape with the assistance of Beanie the bird. With his new adoptive family locked away, Croc needs to save the day and set them free, which kinda draws back to the whole Moses comparison earlier on. Croc travels across different islands, all themed, with Croc starting on his own forest island, leading into an ice-themed icecapade, a sandy desert island, and then an island where the castle of the villainous Baron Dante resides. Throughout these islands, Croc must travel through 8 levels. For the most part, this is just simple platforming. As the player progresses through the world begins to change, with it gradually becoming more and more dark, which is a whole level of aesthetic that I can really appreciate. In these levels, Croc can find 6 Gobbos hidden away, either in chests or God only knows where else. You see this hole with this big giant worm trying to gnaw on you? And why don't you just jump in there after him, eh? Speaking of worms, there are an assortment of enemies that look to get in your way. The most prominent of all of them are these guys. They're little arseholes that run around and cackle, so you obviously want to get rid of them as soon as possible. Which is just a shame because they suddenly reappear as if you didn't take them out. This game is so innocent it makes it so that you can't actually kill enemies because they immediately respawn within seconds of you whipping them with your tail. Which is just as well since crocodiles are renowned for being the most friendly of creatures. Health is measured through the collection of crystals in a fashion akin to Sonic the Hedgehog's, in which these somehow protect Croc from being damaged. If Croc is hit by an enemy, all his crystals go flying and he's left vulnerable to attack, which looks like he just suffers from a heart attack. Much like Sonic, Croc will gain an extra life if he hits 100 crystals. These are tallied up at the end of the level, signified by a gong, which summons Beanie, who flies you off to your next location. However, this isn't the only way to score extra lives. Often in hidden areas you'll find the hearts of the fallen nearby, ready for consuming. If you've somehow come out of a coma from the 1960s and aren't familiar with how these video interactive box machines work, then let me just sum this up. If you lose all your health, you lose a life. If you lose all your lives, it's game over and you need to live with the fact that you just killed this poor little guy and this guy is wearing a new pair of crocodile shoes. Or Crocs. Whatever is funnier. Although this joke is kind of ruined because the game just decides that Croc walks away sadly, which might be one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. As mentioned earlier, one of the objectives for the player is to collect each of the 6 Gobbos located in each standard level. 5 of the Gobbos are located within crates or hidden areas. However, the final Gobbo, that elusive 6th, is always hidden away in a locked door. In order to enter this door, Croc needs to collect coloured gems, which I guess are much more valuable than their basic counterparts. Once inside, Croc can collect the final Gobbo, although this can sometimes require the completion of a minigame, and yes, a lot of them suck. Some require exact precision, and honestly sometimes they just require luck. If you just so happen to be unlucky, then you forfeit the Gobbo, and sometimes need to restart the entire level again. There are also some areas that require you to race a ghost. This greedy little bugger steals not only those precious crystals, but also your key at the end to rescue the Gobbo if you're too slow. This is actually pretty agitating as the ghost picks up speed during the race, and I honestly think you need to be perfect, which is pretty difficult, but I'll get into that later. However, the player doesn't need to collect each of these Gobbos to necessarily proceed through the game. The player can avoid going for his adoptive family to instead pursue the villainous Baron Dante. So you might be thinking, why bother going to the extra effort to collect these furry little triples? Well, that's because it's 1. You're given duty to protect your adoptive family of rodents, you asshole, and 2. Because you need to collect them all to proceed to the secluded secret special level, the Crystal Island. Who would have thought? These islands include 2 boss battles each, one in the middle and then one at the end of the island that must be completed in order to advance to the next place. The first boss battle basically consists of Dante showing up and seeing some random thing and thinking, hey, what's that? A duck? Let's make it into a duck with longer legs. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure we'll knock it out of the park for the next boss. No, okay, I guess we're going to settle for Ladybird. I'd continued with the joke that at some point he's going to make a boss from a diabolical creature, but no, when a guy the size of a cactus and a lizard are threatening enough for his evil army, then you just kind of feel sorry for the guy. The monster designs in this game continue the cute trend that you've already established throughout the start of the game, but real talk, this guy was terrifying as a kid.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
If the player has collected all the Gobbos from the preceding levels and beats these bosses, Croc manages to find himself in a bonus level. Once all jigsaw pieces are collected, Croc is rewarded with his final level. Wait, no, not that one. So surely it can't be that difficult. This is a child-friendly game about a crocodile. Well, honestly, there are a few difficulties, but that boils down to the controls and the camera. As a platformer, Croc does have a lot of difficulties. Now, the camera is pretty much useless, and the controls can be pretty aggravating. Croc charges forward when prompted, but he takes turns slightly awkwardly. You'll often find yourself falling to your death because you couldn't really see where you were going. Earlier I mentioned this game being the equivalent of a corgi in a bow tie and a top hat to give it that cute aesthetic. However, the difficulty can be more akin to the corgi on a greasy floor and with a blindfold. When playing, there are moments where you need to jump across these platforms that break. This involves continuously turning, but with the controls it's actually pretty difficult. I also found myself dying quite a lot in boss battles because the hitbox just seemed a bit ridiculous. You see, I've hit them, but alas, it's me that's paid the price. A life, that is. Or 6. And already this should be an area of concern. When you die because of an inability to move around in a platformer game without ease, or find yourself dying in situations where this should be avoidable, you begin to get more aggravated than enjoy it. After a while, yes, you will manage to pick up a lot of the movements and manage to make those jumps that trouble you originally with ease, but there will always be moments that will catch you out. What Croc does do quite well, however, is allow the player to change the directions of where he's facing by hitting the circle button. This allows the player to quickly turn around in the opposite direction. He's also able to turn as he runs, where he completely 180s to run back in the direction he came from. This comes in handy when you're trying to avoid respawning enemies or rush back to an out of breath boss to knock him out. As a crocodile, Croc can swim underwater. If you suffer from PTSD from water levels, then you can be rest assured that you don't need to worry about any breath as you delve deep into the watery territories. Swimming feels awkward at first, like when you took your first big boy steps into the kiddie pool and decide to learn how to swim. You need to keep at it and learn how to kick, and also knock out any other people in your way before they damage you. The swimming actually isn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but it does present a challenge during one boss battle, where the boss battle takes place entirely underwater. So with all the above said, I've gone ahead and collected all the Gobbos to finally finish the game. And with that, we wind up on the final island, the Crystal Island. Now, the Crystal Island is actually an amalgamation of the previous islands, so you've got a level corresponding to the forest level, the ice level, the desert level, and the castle level. And finally there is a boss battle with what is essentially just Dante again, but in crystal form, because this game really has a hard-on for crystals, I guess. Now, with all that done, we finally managed to defeat this crystal version of Dante, and we're rewarded with the ultimate reward. Yeah. And with that, Croc has saved the day, and they can all live happily ever after until the sequel that wasn't very good. Hi guys, it's Noir Reservoir here, and thank you for watching this video. It's been a long time coming. I've been working on it for quite a while, but you know how life just gets in the way sometimes. I appreciate it if you've watched the entire way through. I'm hoping there'll be more to come, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you can, give it a like. If it doesn't help raise my numbers, it does certainly raise my ego, and that's needed. Thanks again, bye.
KERSPLAT!